We are the group 6 and we are discussing and presenting the chapter 6, the title of the impact of tourism and hospitality. Hi everyone, good day. So today we will discuss about the impacts of tourism and hospitality. So unsa comes in your mind unsa kaha niya ang the impacts of tourism and hospitality? No? So karon ato na siyang i-discuss. So the impact of tourism and hospitality, the rapid growth of tourism and hospitality in the 20th century has produced both problems and benefits for destination countries. It has the visible impacts on the socio-cultural and socio-economic environment. Although the tourism and hospitality can bring economic advantages to the destination country, it also brings with it serious long-term problem which, without careful control and planning, can threaten society. The positive economic effects of tourism and hospitality. Like any other industry, tourism and hospitality affects the economy of those areas in which it takes place. The area affected may be the resort, a region, or the entire nation. Notwithstanding the size of the affected area, the economic effects to the tourism and hospitality may be classified into four groups. First is income. So income, the tourist and hospitality industry obviously generate income within the destination country. Nation wanting to increase their income have used to the tourism and hospitality has a mean for reasonable quick development. Experience has shown us that it takes less time to increase income for the tourism and hospitality than from manufactured goods or other available options. Then tourism income in general comes from wages and salaries, interest, rent, and profits. Since tourism and hospitality is a labor-intensive industry, the greatest proportion of its incomes is derived from wages and salaries. Income is also generated from interest, rent, and profits on tourism and hospitality businesses such as interest paid on loans to the airplane in order to buy aircraft or rent paid to the landowner for a car park. Income is also obtained from direct taxation or indirect taxation, imposing value added tax or VAT on hotel bills is an example of indirect taxation. So, tourism and hospitality is both an income generator and income distributor. The sum of all income in the country is called national income. So, the importance of the tourism and hospitality to the country's economy can be measured through the national income created by tourism and hospitality. The most common method of estimating the income generated from tourism and hospitality is by determining the multipliers for a destination. So, multipliers are means of estimating how much extra income is produced in the economy as a result of the initial spending or injection of cash. Employment from the local national benefits as well from tourism and hospitality. In general, the tourist industry offers more employment opportunity than other tourism and hospitality on developing economy. Tourism and hospitality generate employment faster for developing nations than for the developing ones. In general, tourism and hospitality employees in developed nations are usually paid less in developing countries. The opposite is true. So, there are three types of employments generated by tourism and hospitality. These are the direct, indirect, and induced employment. So, first is direct employment. So, direct employment is generated as a result of providing goods and services direct to tourists in hotels, restaurants, bars, nightclub, and like that. So, next is indirect employment. So, indirect employment is consists of those positions that are associated with other tourism-related activities by are used by both the local residents and the tourists. Shops and food wholesalers are considered to the source of indirect employment. So next is induced employments. Refers to the people working in position only primarily related to the tourism and hospitality, but generated because of it. So balance of payments. Balance of payments is accounting of flow of goods, services, and funds in and out of the country during a given period. If a country pays or agrees to pay more money than it receives, it has a deficit. It is balance of payments. If it receives more money than it sends or exports, it has a surplus in its balance of payments. Investment and development. Once an area has become economically successful, businessmen and government agencies may be influenced to invest in tourism and hospitality and other industry in that area. This is known by economists as acceleration concept. The acceleration theory is the economic acceleration that states that whenever demand or income rises, investment expenditure rises as well. According to the theory, when there is excess demand, business can either reduce demand by raising prices or increase investment to meet the level of demand.
Negative economic aspects of tourism and hospitality. High inflation and land speculation destination, high leakage from the economies of developing countries, low returns on investment because of seasonal fluctuations in demand, and overdependence on tourism and hospitality. So, negative economic aspects of tourism and hospitality is tourism and hospitality have numerous negative economic aspects, including high inflation, land speculation, high leakage from developing countries' economies, low returns on investment due to seasonal fluctuations in demand, and overdependence of these industries. So, high inflation arises from the high prices of goods and services offered by retailers catering to tourists, which can lead to higher rent and taxes for local residents. Land value also increase due to growth in the tourist trade, leading to increased demand for hotels, vacation homes, and tourist facilities. Leakage can occur from the cost of imported goods and services, remittance of profits, and wage to outside sources. So there are 9 impact of control measures. First, develop tourism and hospitality gradually. Second, maintain a scale of tourism and hospitality development that is appropriate for the local as well as national environment. Third, involve residents and their spokesmen in planning and decision making. Fourth, apply the concept of tourism development zones. Fifth, make certain that residents have easy access to tourist attractions, facilities, and services. Sixth, provide incentives to local ownership, management, and operations of hotels and other tourist facilities and services. 7. Develop a strong linkage between tourism and hospitality and other economic activities. 8. Plan Develop and organize tourism and hospitality. Last, train local people to work effectively in all levels of tourism and hospitality. So, impact measures is to maximize the benefits of tourism and hospitality in a destination area. Edward Inskeep, a consultant for the UNWTO, suggests several measures. These include gradually developing tourism and hospitality, maintaining appropriate scale for the local environment, involving residents in planning and decision making, applying tourism development zones, providing easy access to attractions and services, incentivizing local ownership and management, developing strong linkage between tourism and other economic activities, planning and organizing tourism and hospitality to avoid overcrowding, and training local people to work effectively in all levels of tourism and hospitality.
The social impacts of tourism and hospitality. The social impacts of tourism and hospitality should not be confused with the popular term of social tourism. The social impacts of tourism and hospitality refers to the change in the quality of life of residents of tourist destination. The objectives of social tourism is to ensure that tourism is accessible to all people. Positive social effects of tourism and hospitality. First is new medium for social change and multicultural understanding. Second is adaptation to the realities of modern life and works. Third is knowledge and use of foreign language and health condition and disease control. So, negative social effects of tourism and hospitality. While tourism and hospitality has enabled different people to strengthen the social structure, mass tourism has brought with it experience and problems. So, social saturation, the presence of large numbers of tourists in particular places at specific times result is saturation or organization of facilities and services and competition for limited resources. Next is change in the social structure, behavior, and rules. Tourism and hospitality changes the traditional form of employments which result in the lowering of the status of agricultural workers, migration of the population, and the breaking up of families. Many young people demand freedom from their families. They also disregard social norms such as respect for elders and close family ties. Community problems. Prostitution, often called the oldest profession, certainly exists before the growth of mass tourism. It is difficult to say how responsible tourism and hospitality has been for the rise of prostitution in tourist destinations. So, negative demonstrative effects. So, the negative demonstrative effects consist of tourist behavior which can be considered social and economically inappropriate. One of the major results of the negative demonstrative effects is the popularization of the host from the tourist.
Impact of tourism and hospitality on culture. Acculturation, defined as those changes that occur in a culture through borrowing from other culture. Cultural convergence is the tendency of world cultures to become more alike. So, impact of tourism and hospitality on culture is to mitigate negative impacts of tourism and hospitality. Several control measures can be implemented. These include limiting contact between host and guest, separating hosts and tourists within tourist enclaves, designing community education programs, and expanding human resource development programs. Tourism and hospitality also contribute to cultural convergence as people adopt new technologies, language, and values. Modernization and industrialization bring about changes in attitudes, beliefs, and way of life, with tourism and hospitality playing a vital role in acculturation.
Negative cultural impacts of tourism and hospitality. While tourism and hospitality has enabled different people to restore and maintain interest in their own cultures, it has also led to the destruction of the country's work of art. The local residents and tourists who think they have the right to the country's art. Next is environmental impacts of tourism and hospitality. The history of tourism and hospitality closely shows that the environment has contributes to the birth and progress of tourism and hospitality. The term environment connotes both human and physical characteristics. Speakers and writers often refers to it as human environment, physical environment, or a combination of both. A term that describes the human and physical characteristics of area is pre-exist forms.
Positive environmental impact of tourism and hospitality. Tourism and hospitality has created environmental awareness in two ways. First, contact with scenic areas has raised man's awareness of the Earth's beauty and made it easier for him to see and enjoy it with minimum damage. And second, environmental awareness has been heightened by mass tourism, which cause direct and indirect destructions. First, conservation and preservation of the environment not only benefit the local area but also determine the future of tourism and hospitality. Local residents benefit from the preservation, tourism and hospitality for as long as tourists will continue to be a socio-economic and cultural assessed. Second, development of attractions. A. Historical preservation. Many historical sites in both urban and rural areas have been preserved to attract tourists. B. Resident benefits. Tourism and hospitality benefits the local residents in a number of ways. The park movement was driven by social concerns, resource efficiency, aesthetic enhancement, and protection from human manipulation. The growth of industry and commerce lead to a demand for parks and open spaces, emphasizing the importance of non-renewable resources. Tourism and hospitality have played a significant role in conservation, stimulating the rehabilitation of historic sites, transforming old buildings into tourist. Negative environmental impact of tourism and hospitality. A. Environmental conflicts. Some of the problems affecting the quality of the environment are destruction of the vegetation, pollution, air, water, and noise, and destruction of wildlife. Geological conflicts. Tourism and hospitality affects geological formations. Some tourists collect mineral, rocks, fossils, and corals from tourist attractions. C. Resident conflicts. Number of conflicts frequently occur between residents and tourists or touristy developers.